Hello and welcome back to another episode of Faye Answered Questions. This is a podcast where the Faye family tries to answer questions about life. This is a special episode because it is the last one that we're recording for the season, but it's not it's the second to last episode that'll come out. But joining me are my co-hosts, Mom and Dad. Hello.
Hello.
G'day.
So, Mom, Dad, what is the topic today?
Today's topic goes along with this month. What is the focus of this month, which is mental health?
The mental health topic, honestly, folks, listen, it came up, and if you listen to last week's episode, it came up because where I work, we had a young man, teenager, throw himself out a window and kill himself. Look, he was less than 20 years old, and there's nothing in this life that happens that should cause a 20-year-old or less than 20-year-old to throw themselves out a window and kill themselves. All right, and so I wanted, and it was me. I wanted to talk about mental health because it's a topic that's affected our family.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a topic that, just top of the mind awareness, I guess. People need to understand about mental health and where people are, and not necessarily how to treat it or how to do anything with it, but just from a standpoint of, am I depressed? Am I upset? What's going on?
On that point, I want to say there is a difference between mental health and mental illness. But if you don't take care of your mental health, it can exacerbate the issues of mental illness. So you want to take care of your mental health. If you're feeling a little blue or a little down or a little overstressed, take a day for yourself. In fact, I did that on Friday. I could not face going into the office one more day. I couldn't face dealing with the drama, the angst, the stupidity. And it's, you work in an environment that is supposed to be all adults, and it's like being in junior high all over. And that's wearing, and it wears you out. And so, I will tell you, Friday I took off and I didn't do much. I went to lunch with a girlfriend. We had a good chat. I did a little bit of shopping that needed to be done. I came home. I watched, really good thing to watch when you're taking a day off is your favorite show, binge. So Death in Paradise, here we came. So I watched that and, did a few things around the house so I didn't have to do them today. It's just, and I feel better for it. I'm like, okay, I can face another week.
Mandatory disclaimer: we're not in any way qualified.
Oh no. Yeah, definitely. We are not mental health professionals. We are not mental health professionals.
It's from our point of view. What we have done to help ourselves and what works.
More anecdotal.
Yeah,
there you go.
Like, listen, just for all of you folks in the cyber world land, we're here for entertainment purposes only, but we speak from experience. So for me to speak about mental health, and I'm sure Mum would agree, my previous employment left me in a state of post-traumatic stress syndrome, PTSD, let's just call it that. I've had to seek help to navigate the world after what I was doing in order to be able to function. So you've got to be careful with how you handle things and what things come up in order to be able to be a productive member of society and not hurt yourself, not hurt anyone.
Absolutely. I guess that's one of the biggest takeaways here is if you feel like you need help, go get help.
Absolutely. Yeah. Reach out to somebody.
And there's, in this day and age, and especially with this past year of COVID, there's so many helps you can do online. There's counselors that do sessions online. There's, if you do a telemed, Zoom, whatever, FaceTime call with them, yeah, it's going to cost you a little bit of money. They also have different sites that you can work through without having to talk with somebody, but they have steps you can work through and workbooks to work through to help you, and goals that you need to meet every day or every week. And that there's one, I can't think of the name of it, but it's like $150 a month, but you can use it as much as you need to get through. And that's the important part. Yeah, talking to friends is great. And sometimes that's all it takes, is having a chat with your family. If your family's very supportive and understanding, or having chat with friends that have, experienced the same thing. But sometimes you need that qualified professional that's a third party that has no skin in the game except for your well-being. And they can come at it at a different point of view, a clear head, and can help you through it. And that's the big thing. And there should never be a stigma around your mental health, because it is part of who you are. And it is part of staying healthy, mind, body, and spirit, soul, however you want to say it. But, that's part of keeping you healthy.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like what you said about having somebody else that has no, stake in what you're going through, that can provide that different point of view. Because I know this year and parts of last year, I needed to talk to someone that wasn't, involved in what I was going through, and they all had good different points of view that helped me get out of the rut that I was in.
I think the big thing we're trying to get across in this episode, you're going to run into shit in life. Life happens. Okay? And you're going to have good days and you're going to have bad days. Some days you're going to go to the office and it's going to be a bad day.
Right.
All right? The boss is going to yell at you. The things are going to go wrong. Okay? That's all right. That's just a bad day. Okay? There's no need to throw up and put your hands up and wave the white flag. And that's a character building day. That's where you decide and find out what you're made of. All right? Those days are going to happen. The days we're talking about string back to back to back to back to back to back to back.
Yeah.
And it's not. It's not your bosses yelling at you. It's not the oh my God, everyone hates me type day. No, it's those days where you wake up and you can tell within yourself something's wrong. And those days string together one after the other, after the other, after the other. We're talking about you can tell something's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And for me personally, folks, just so you know, for me personally, my father passed away just before Christmas. We buried my father Christmas Eve, and we watched that on a YouTube video or a YouTube live feed, because I couldn't fly home to Australia to be there with my family for my dad's funeral. Does that affect the person? Absolutely, that affects a person.
Yeah.
And it affects a person that's been involved with a lot of death and a lot of sadness in their life, a lot. And I was able in January, late January, because I tried to tough it out. God, you tough it out. That's what you do. You just get through it. No, that's not what you do. But in late January, I went and visited with a doctor. But I was able to say to that doctor, hey, I've been down this road before. I know these signs. I know what's happening. This is not me as a normal operating human being. And you can talk to that doctor on a personal basis from personal experience about this isn't normal. This is not what normally happens. This is where I'm at. And you can get help. And, it doesn't have to be permanent. It doesn't mean you're defective. I don't feel like I'm defective. I need a little bit of help to get through a little bit of time to deal with something that was very traumatic for me. And, my dad's death wasn't the only thing that happened around that point in time. But that is all you guys need to know. So we were dealing with 2 or 3 things at that point in time.
It was a rough Christmas.
It was a rough Christmas.
Oh,
This Christmas was not fun.
Sucks.
And as a dad, it wasn't fun. As a dad, it was very tough for me. It was very tough for me because I felt like a failure. I felt like I screwed up. I felt like I'd done something wrong. And so, it's not wrong to go and ask someone who is a healthcare professional and say, this is all that's going on. And, been here before, know what's going on.
And past Christmas, I remember sitting there thinking, I was like, I don't know how Dad is even functioning right now, with everything that was happening. There was a bunch of stuff going on. I was like, this has got to be taking a toll, but you're still, present. You still would talk and joke with us a little bit, over the Christmas. And I remember thinking about both of you guys. I was like, they're so much, tougher and just stronger than I know I am right now. I would be a mess if that happened over Christmas. I don't know how you guys do it.
Well, you do have to remember that we have a bit of life on you.
Yeah.
So we've experienced highs and lows through our life and how to deal with them. And sometimes your lows are so overwhelming that you do need help. And I will say I used to never have issues with depression or not being able to handle things. But as life wears you down, and depending on your circumstances, you may never have that. And if you are fortunate enough for that, that's great. But please be understanding of others who may have had more wearing down or a harsher experiences than you. And, it used to never bother me. I could brush it off. I could brush things off and just move on. But I think having children and raising you guys and having to move, I mean, don't get me wrong, I loved moving. I was the catalyst on some of those moves. And enjoying that and seeing all of that you do have to make new friends and new support group or whatever everywhere you go. And that will wear on you after a while. Because, all of a sudden you're away and you've left everybody that you've ever known. And so then that makes it kind of hard. So I know now, and I've had to get help in the past, and I know now what some of my triggers are. And I also know what my telltale signs are of what's happening. So on the days that I am super, super, super up and I am talking so fast, your dad's just looking at me like, oh boy, here we go. That is a really high for me. And I know it and I try to stop it and I know what's coming. And that pendulum is going to go the other way. And my goal is to try to catch it before it goes too far past center, because I have been the high highs, and then it hits the low lows. And when it hits those really low lows, it takes a while for me to come out of them. And it could be, I don't know what triggers it, but I know the signs. And so it's being self-aware and knowing, okay, let me talk myself through this. Let's make sure we get enough sleep. Let's make sure our diet is in place. Let's make sure we're getting enough exercise. It's all of those things to help and to know what makes you feel better. So one of my problems is a lot of times at night, I can't shut my brain off. My body is absolutely exhausted, but my brain will not shut off. And I'm replaying everything that's happened in the past week at work or whatever. I do have something I can take for that to help me shut my brain off so I can sleep and get that rejuvenation that I need.
Like, I never knew you, Dad, or even Mom, like, had gone to, like, talk to anybody, like, about stuff. Because, like, all we see, like, from the kids' side is you kind of, like, tough it out. And, like, yeah, it might be, like, bad for a while, and then after a bit, like, oh, back to, normal.
I think that's a generational thing. Like, and particularly for me, and you understand now a lot better because of where you are.
Yeah.
Is it was not only generational for us growing up that you just shut up and get on through it. That's the way it happens.
Yeah.
But it was also my career.
Yeah.
Was, hell, you would not ever say anything that would put you in jeopardy. And so you just toughed up and you got through it. I think the thing for me, and the reason we're talking about mental health and the reason we're talking about understanding the signs of depression or needing to talk to someone is the older I have gotten. Yes, folks, I'm old. It's okay. It happens to everyone. Is I'm watching young people where I work, and just in this year, the fall of 2020, the spring of 2021, with the COVID pandemic that's gone on and everything that's happened in the last 12, 15 months, where I work, we've had 4 or 5 young, and I say young adults, they're 18 to 21, kill themselves. They've committed suicide. And I sit here at my age and go, what the hell is going on that a 18 to 21-year-old thinks it's necessary to take their life? That's a pretty permanent friggin' solution to something that is temporary. And I've had, from my own experience, so people don't jump down me and email me and tell me how ugly I am. And I've had numerous people that I worked with in my previous career commit suicide. But then we did some pretty intense stuff.
Yeah.
And, when you go from being hero to being zero, then that weighs on you. Their solution was to take their own life. I don't agree with that. But none of them reached out. None of them wanted to talk. None of them did anything with anybody. They just took their own life. And the first part I knew about it was a phone call to let me know that they'd taken their own life. And so you're left sitting here going, what could I have done? What could I have done? And so I guess the reason we're talking about this now is, what can we do? We're not mental health professionals. We can't diagnose anything. We can't tell you you're schizophrenic. We can't tell you you're depressed. We can't tell you you're this or that. What we can tell you is, hey, we'll listen. And we will help you, to our ability, find a mental health professional that can help you. You do not have to go to drastic measures. Let us help you find somebody that can actually give you the medical attention you need.
Yeah. And along that same line is you need to be aware and be cognizant of what other people and their behaviors are. Like if you know somebody you work with at work and they're usually a pretty even-keeled person, and then their personality changes a little bit, or they're a little bit off that day, hey, pull back on the jokes.
Yeah.
Go to them one-on-one. Hey, is everything okay? Are you sure you're okay? What's going on? I'm happy to listen. But be aware that words, the words you say have lasting effects on people. So just be careful with your words. Make sure you're not tearing somebody down. Of course, I say this, but don't ever ride with me because everybody's a dumbass when I drive.
Yeah.
So, but in that same breath, I'm not saying it to somebody's face. It's just venting in the car and getting it out so nobody hears it, and I'm fine. But it's one of those things, you just be aware of what you're saying to somebody. You don't know how you say something to somebody may be that trigger. And I'm not saying you have to be cautious, but be aware of how people are behaving around you. Just pay attention and treat people how you want to be treated. I mean, that's what we were always told, treat somebody how you want to be treated.
Mm-hmm.
And, if you want to be treated horribly, then please go and get some help. That's not normal.
No.
Sorry. That's not normal at all. You're better than that. And I think Dad's right. It's generational on how we deal with it, and it is very good that the younger generations now are recognizing mental health is a big part of being a whole healthy person, and there should not be a stigma around it. And I've said for probably a number of years, it's just I would take a random day off of work, and everybody's like, well, I'm like, mental health day. And they look at you kind of funny, and I'm like, listen, you people driving me crazy. There's no reason for this. I need a break from you, and 2 days at the weekend are just not going to do it.
It's not enough time.
And I did think about it. I thought, oh, coming up to the end of the month, I have a 3-day weekend. And I was like, no, I can't put myself through the stress. I need a day off. And I took that day off, and I did not check emails. I do have my work email on my phone because of having to work from home this last year at different points in time. And I made a point, don't look at it. If I saw the little number just increasing by that icon, I would clear it because I can't handle that. I wouldn't look, but I would clear the number because I was just like, you know what? The world's not going to stop if I don't get something done. Somebody else can step up and get that little bit of a project done or whatever. But for my sanity, I took that day, and it was very good. I mean, I really didn't do much, but I did stuff for me. I put on my Hulk green mask on my face and deep conditioned my hair and spent the 2 hours to straighten it. I mean, it's a big old mess, and to straighten it properly, it takes a long time. Mm-hmm. So I did that, and I put on my makeup for myself, and I went shopping, and I went to lunch, and I came home and, binge watched one of my favorite shows that had new episodes, and did a little bit of laundry, and, petted the dog. And, animals, having a pet.
I was going to say that. I was going to say, get a pet. Get a dog.
A dog or a cat. Cats are good too, if you're a cat person.
Get a dog.
We're dog people. They're very important. We have a 10-year-old Great Pyrenees we got him. He was my dog. Yep. And next in line was Josh as his person. Mm-hmm. And over the past year or so?
Yeah, 18 months.
Past year, 18 months, really in the last little bit for sure, he has changed who his person is. It's Dad. Like, Dad is his person. Now he will still don't walk in the yard without permission, because he will take you down and he will still protect me to the death. But he knows Dad needs a bit more loving, and so they have their cuddle time in the morning when Dad's drinking his tea on the couch. Bear has to come and you know, we're talking, if you don't know what a Great Pyrenees is, this is a 120-pound lap dog.
Yeah.
Full of fluff, and lays there with his head on his lap, and he gets sulky and pouts if he doesn't get couch time with Daddy. He will come and push him there. But he also knows what kind of day he's having, and he'll come and spend extra time with him and nudge on him and want to be loved on, and just doesn't even actually have to be petted. If he stands there, if you just put your hand on his head and just move your fingers a little bit, he's happy. That's what he wants. He's there for you. Dogs instinctively pick up on that, but it also gives you something else besides yourself to care about. So yes, while a goldfish and lizards and that kind of stuff is great, and you can just throw a little food in there and be done, a dog, you actually have to walk. You have to feed.
Right,
you
yeah.
have to care for them. So you're caring for somebody else, or something else that can't for themselves. And they give so much back. They know. They'll sit there, like when you have a bad day, they'll climb up on the bed with you and just lay there. You know, they give you that ability to say things out loud like you're talking to them, but they have no idea what you're talking about, but you're able to get it out and felt heard because they unconditionally love you.
This is why the man's best friend.
Yes. Be responsible if you get a pet. Make sure you're a responsible pet owner.
Right.
As in, take your little poopy bags when you go for a walk and don't let them do it in somebody's yard without cleaning up. Get you shot. You know, just stuff like that. Just little things to help with that. It is great. Make sure you get sunshine. I know that sounds crazy if you're stuck in an office. Like my office, literally, I have no windows, but I get a 15-minute break. I get 2 15-minute breaks that legally I can take. You know what I do now? I walk around the block about 3 times. And I get extra steps in that day, and I get sunshine, and it lifts my mood.
Oh, for sure. Because I was on like the graveyard shift for the past couple months. So like I went to bed as the sun was coming up, and then I got up and I only had a few hours of sunlight.
Yeah.
Or before it's dark again, and then sitting at work, and like just my mood and everything was just awful.
Right.
But, yeah, definitely get out, get some sun.
Yeah, sun, bit of exercise. I mean, when we lived in the Northwest, up close to the Canadian border, where summer was literally 3 months.
That was debatable, folks.
Yeah, that was debatable. But Ben was born with jaundice, and he still suffered a bit with it then. And so I would go and start the truck, and he would bundle up, and I'd be like, put your face in the sun, like, up against the window where the sun is, whatever, you're getting sunlight. Mm-hmm. And we'd stick him out there with his books to read for, half an hour, 45 minutes, whatever, to help with that. And it does help. It changes. You get the vitamin D you need naturally. It lifts your mood. It makes you feel better. Gives you a bit of energized feeling.
Oh, absolutely. It's funny. You got to treat him like a plant. Make sure he gets enough sun.
Yes.
Give him some water. Put him in the window.
He does that himself.
Yeah, he sort of. I will say this. What works for you may not work for somebody else. I had somebody keep telling me, oh, when I feel blue, I do stuff for other people. So you're feeling down, and I'm like, that's the last thing I want to do. Right. I can barely get a shower. Okay. I'm doing good to get a shower. My energy is going to get a shower and get to work, do my job, come home. I'm neglecting my family because I don't have the energy. the last thing I want to do is go do something for somebody else.
Right.
So, be cognizant of that and be sensitive to that and be aware, not everybody's the same.
In conclusion, yeah, what works for you may not work for someone else. If you think you need help, talk to someone. That's the best way to help, get through your situation. You might see something a different way, or somebody else might see something a different way, help you get out of your rut. And it's good just to don't keep shit, like bottled up forever. That'll just eat away at you. But yeah, what else? Is there anything else that we have here at the end of the episode?
I think I just would like to say, as the mom's point of view, take care of yourself. Do what you need to do. Most people are very cognizant of, physical health, exercise, eating correctly. Mental health is part of that, so you are a complete healthy person. Just be aware of that. Take care of yourself. Reach out. If you have a friend reach out to you, just listen. Don't offer any advice. Just be a true friend. No judgment. Just listen. And that may be all they need. And then you don't have to internalize their stuff. You don't have to take it on. You're just a sounding board, and then go on. And hopefully your friend will reciprocate that.
My final word is there is absolutely nothing in this life that necessitates you taking your own life. Everything can be dealt with. I don't care what you've done. I don't care what you think you've done or what has happened to you. Everything can be worked through, and everything can be solved to a point that you do not have to take such drastic measures, particularly if you're young. I would hate to be a parent. I would hate to be a parent that woke up one morning and got a phone call or a visit from a law enforcement agency that let me know one of my children had taken their own life. I could not deal with that.
Mm-hmm.
So if you need help, if you need
help finding help,
which again, we are not mental health professionals, but if you need help finding help, you drop us an email, anonymous. I don't care. Just give us your country and your city, and we will find you help. All right? Because there is no need to do anything so drastic as that.
Mm-hmm.
There is. But I think it's a good note to end on there. Mm-hmm. So thanks for sticking with us through this episode and this season. Especially if you made it through this episode, there's a lot of, I'll just say, sound issues, which I think we've gotten to the bottom of this point. So hopefully season 3 will be better.
It will be. We'll buy a microphone.
Yeah, that would help immensely.
And we'll only let the dog bark 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, and you won't sound like you're dying of the Rona.
Allergies.
But yeah, we should wrap this up. But anyway, drop us an email, reach out to us, send us a question if you got a question that you want some strangers on the internet to answer. Tell your friends, tell your family about the podcast, tell your enemies, tell people that you're apathetic toward.
Like, subscribe.
Yep, do all that nonsense. You guys know what to do. But thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.
Later.